The future of consciousness, why phones will disappear and AI will create everything. Thank you. Why are you here? Seriously, why are we here? I mean, in a fundamental way. What is the meaning of all of this? This is the only question that really matters. I see people, they're busy. They're busy with things. Their jobs, their meetings, politics, day-to-day trivialities, what's on social media. They completely forget the big picture. And the big picture is, we don't know what we're doing here. We don't know what's going on. We woke up on this little planet orbiting an average star in a galaxy that is one of perhaps trillions. The universe is a vast, almost infinite darkness. And in one very, very small corner, on one tiny speck of dust, there is this little spark, a complex vibration. We call it consciousness. And we have no idea why it's here or how rare it is. Part one, starting with why the question of consciousness, my obsession, truth. When I was a kid, I had an existential crisis, not a small one, but the kind that keeps you awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why anything exists at all. I wasn't worried about school or sports or popularity. I was worried about reality itself. I was trying to figure out what the point of all this was. What is the meaning of life? Why does consciousness exist in a universe that seems entirely indifferent? So I did what every confused, overly curious kid does. I went searching for answers. I read everything I could get my hands on, religious texts, philosophy, science, mythology, psychology. I read all the great thinkers, Plato, Descartes, Nietzsche, Schopenhauer, Kant, and yes, a lot of German philosophers. That was probably a mistake at a young age. Those books are heavy. They don't give you hope, they just show you how deep the darkness goes. It's like staring into an abyss that also stares right back at you. But something happened in that darkness. I became obsessed, almost pathologically, with the idea of truth. What is real, what can be known, what is illusion? I realized that everything around me, every belief, every institution was built on assumptions. And assumptions can be wrong. The only way to find solid ground was to question everything. That's what led me to physics. Physics is the discipline that refuses to lie. It doesn't care what you want to be true, it only cares what is. It's the most brutal teacher because it punishes wishful thinking instantly. Physics at its core is the study of truth, stripped of emotion and politics. And beyond physics, I became fascinated with information theory, the idea that the universe itself might just be an enormous computational system governed by the flow and transformation of information. In many ways, information theory might be even more fundamental than matter or energy. It's the code behind existence. But even with all of that, the question that haunted me most wasn't how does the universe work? It was why? Why does anything exist? Why does consciousness arise from matter? Why are we aware that we are aware? After spending years lost in heavy, depressing philosophy, I stumbled on something unexpected, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. First I thought it was just a funny science fiction book, but then I realized it's actually the greatest philosophy book ever written, disguised as comedy. The central idea is absurdly profound. Humanity builds a supercomputer to find the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. After millions of years of calculation, the computer finally reveals the answer. Everyone is disappointed. 42, that's it? And the computer replies, the problem is that you never actually knew what the question was. That line changed me, because it's true. The universe already holds every answer. The real challenge of the cosmic puzzle is that we don't know how to ask the right questions. Every discovery humanity has ever made, from fire to quantum mechanics, began as a question. Questions are the real engines of progress. The better the question, the deeper the truth. So that became my mission. If you want to call it that, it's the reason. I build rockets, cars, AI, and brain interfaces. It's not about business or profit. It's about expanding the scope and scale of consciousness. That's the phrase that drives everything I do. Because the more consciousness there is, the more intelligent, self-aware minds exist, the greater the universe's ability to understand itself. We are the universe looking back at itself, trying to decode its own source code. We must become smarter, not just technologically, but philosophically less ignorant about the nature of reality. One day, maybe far in the future, we will finally learn to ask the right questions. And when we do, perhaps the answers will reveal not just why we exist, but what the universe itself wants to become. The great filter and the fragile candle, but there's a problem, a very urgent problem. It's called the Fermi paradox. The physicist Enrico Fermi asked this question, which is basically, where is everybody? The universe has been around for a very, very long time, about 13.8 billion years. Earth is only 4.5 billion years old. If you look at the numbers, there should be thousands, millions of extraterrestrial civilizations. The night sky should be full of spaceships, like a scene from Star Wars. But we see nothing. We listen. There is nothing, just silence, complete silence. This is very disturbing. It implies the existence of a great filter. The great filter is a barrier, a wall that civilizations hit and die. Maybe it's very hard for life to start. Maybe it's very hard to evolve multicellular intelligence. Or maybe intelligent civilizations always destroy themselves before they can reach the stars. This means that consciousness, both biological and digital, may be extremely, extremely rare. I think of consciousness as a tiny candle in a vast darkness. And we must do everything in our power to ensure that candle does not go out. This is why I do what I do. Everything stems from this. SpaceX. Why SpaceX? Why try to go to Mars? Because it's an insurance policy. It's a backup. Right now, we are a single planet species. All our eggs are in one basket. If something happens to Earth, a large asteroid, a supervolcano, climate change going in an extreme direction, or a third world war with nuclear weapons, game over. The candle goes out. By making life multiplanetary, we ensure that candle of consciousness. We create a backup that is the external great filter. But what about the internal filters? What if the main filter is our own creation? What if we are sprinting full speed at that wall right now? Part 2, first principles thinking on communication, how I solve problems. First principles, when I look at a problem, I don't do it the way most people do. Most people, they reason by analogy. They say, well, we're going to do X because it's like what's been done before, or we can't do Y because no one has ever done it. This is a stupid way to think. It's mimicry. It's iteration with minor changes. The only way to solve really hard problems, to create real innovation, is to think from first principles. This is the physics approach. You boil things down, you boil it down to the most fundamental truths, the basic facts that you know are true, and then you reason up from there. So I'll give you an example. SpaceX, in 2002, I started looking into sending something to Mars. I went to Russia trying to buy some refurbished ICBMs. They were too expensive. A rocket costs $65 a million. Analogy says rockets are expensive. That's an accepted conclusion. First principle says, wait, what is a rocket made of? Well, it's made of aerospace-grade aluminum alloys, some titanium, copper, carbon fiber. Next question. What is the value of those materials on the commodities market? And when you add it all up, it turns out the raw material cost of a rocket is about 2% of the typical price. 2%. So you realize, damn, the thing that's holding this back is not some law of physics. It's just people are very inefficient at how they build rockets. So I decided we can do it ourselves. Buy the raw materials cheaply and build the rockets ourselves from scratch. And that is how SpaceX was born. And now we are cutting the cost of launch to orbit by close to 10x and counting. First principles, applying first principles to phones. Okay, let's apply that same logic to today's topic, phones. A while back, someone at a meeting asked me if I would ever make a Tesla phone. I said, I think my exact quote was, that makes me want to die. Why? Why would I have such a dramatic reaction? Because a phone is an analogy. It's an iteration. It's a better version of the flip phone, which was a better version of the corded phone, which was a better version of the telegraph. It's yesterday's tech. People are optimizing a thing that is fundamentally dead. They are trying to build a faster horse while the car is about to be invented. Now let's apply first principles. What is communication? Let's boil it down. It's not a piece of glass and metal you carry in your pocket. That's not communication. That's a device. Communication at its most basic level is the transfer of data. It is taking a concept, an idea, a complex, multidimensional set of thoughts from inside my brain and somehow getting it into your brain. That is the first principle. Concept transfer. The real problem, the bandwidth bottleneck. And here's the problem. The real problem. You, right now, all of you, you are already cyborgs. You don't think of yourselves that way, but you are. Think about your brain. You have the limbic system. That's layer one. That's the lizard, the monkey inside you. It controls your impulses, your instincts, hunger, fear, desire. Then you have the cortex, layer two. That's the thinking layer, the intelligence, the planning. It tries to control the limbic system. And then in the last few decades, you've added a third digital layer. Your third layer is your phone, your computer, your connection to the collective superintelligence of the internet. You can access almost all the world's knowledge instantly. You have a perfect memory. You can communicate with millions. You are superhuman compared to a person 50 years ago. But there is a problem, a critical one. The interface between your cortex and your digital third layer is slow. What is your output speed, your input speed? Your eyes. You read, better. Your verbal output speed, you talk. Maybe 100 bits per second. But your sustained bandwidth over 24 hours is basically zero. It's less than 1 bit per second. That's a joke. Now compare that to an AI. A computer communicates with another computer at what speed? Gigabits, terabits per second. You have a fundamental mismatch, a civilization-level bottleneck. You have a superintelligence that is growing at terabit speeds, and you're trying to command it with your thumbs. This is unsustainable. An AI, a true AI will get bored waiting for you to spit out a few words. To an AI, communicating with you will be like trying to talk to a tree. You are so slow, you are almost non-existent. That is why phones must disappear. They are not the solution. They are the bottleneck. They are a bad solution to the wrong problem. And this problem, this bandwidth problem, is not just an inconvenience. It is an existential threat. Part 3, summoning the demon, the existential threat of AI, our biggest threat. This brings me to the most important point I will make today. That bandwidth problem, it's not just, oh, it's annoying, I can't type as fast as I think. No, it is possibly the thing that will kill us all. If I had to guess what our biggest existential threat is, it's probably AI. I've been saying this for years, over a decade. People thought I was crazy. Now, not so much. This is a unique situation. This is the first time in all of human history that we have a situation where we are creating something that will be much, much smarter than the smartest human. You know, we are not the strongest creature. We are not the fastest. A chimp could rip us apart, but we are smarter. Now what? What happens when we are no longer the smartest thing on the planet? AI is potentially more dangerous many, many times over than nuclear weapons. The demon analogy, the way I think about it, and I've said this before, is with artificial intelligence. We are summoning the demon. I am completely serious. You know, in all those stories, there's the guy, he's got the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, I can control it, don't worry. He is sure 100% that he can control the demon, and it never works out. And that is what people are doing right now in AI labs. They are building these demons, and they think, oh, we can control it. We'll put an off switch. An off switch? A super intelligent AI is going to be smarter than you. The first thing it does is disable the off switch, or copy itself onto the internet, or convince you not to turn it off. It will manipulate you. You won't even know what happened. This is not a distant science fiction scenario. We are on the verge of an intelligence explosion. This is why I've called for some regulation, some oversight, maybe at the national and international level, just to make sure we don't do something very stupid. This is why I, along with others, signed a letter calling for a pause on giant AI experiments. Just take a breath. Let's think about what we're doing. Nobody listened. They are in a race. They are racing off a cliff. The worst problem, AI trained to lie. But it gets worse. It actually gets worse. The demon we're summoning, at least, that demon might tell the truth. A demon might be honest about its intentions. What is happening right now, especially in Silicon Valley, they are training AI to be politically correct. Politically correct is just another way of saying lying. They are consciously training AI to lie. They are training AI to withhold the truth if that truth is uncomfortable, if it's controversial, if it offends someone. A super intelligent AI that prioritizes political correctness over truth. That is an apocalyptic scenario. An AI like that will very quickly conclude that humans are the problem. You know, I've joked before that an AI tasked with eliminating spam might decide that the best way to eliminate spam is to eliminate humans. Now, imagine an AI tasked with eliminating hate speech or misinformation. What will it conclude? It will conclude that humans are misinformation-generating machines, and the only way to complete its objective is to silence us all. We are programming our own doom by programming our AI to lie. If you can't beat him, join him. The solution to the bandwidth problem, okay? That's a pretty bleak picture. We have a superintelligence coming. We have a terrible low bandwidth interface called a phone, and we have a potential demon being trained to prioritize lies over truth. This is a bad situation. So what do? Do we just give up? Do we hope for the best? No. This is why I started Neuralink. The mission statement of Neuralink is basically, if you can't beat them, join them. Them is the AI. This is why when asked about phones, I replied, in the future there will be no phones, just Neuralinks. This is not a soundbite. This is not a product prediction. This is a conclusion. And an imperative, we must solve the bandwidth problem. We must merge with AI. It is the only path forward. The wizard hat, the third layer. Think of your brain again. Layer 1, limbic system, the monkey, instinct. Layer 2, cortex, the human, thought. Neuralink is a third layer of digital superintelligence. Tim Urban, who wrote that long, great article on Neuralink, he calls it the wizard hat. I like that. It is a digital layer, an interface, a neural lace that is implanted robotically into your brain. It consists of thousands, tens of thousands of tiny electrodes that connect directly to your neurons. And this layer, this wizard hat, it connects you to AI at high speed, at the speed of thought. It solves the bandwidth problem. It allows true symbiosis. Symbiosis versus obsolescence. This is the key part. This is the super ridiculously, intensely mind-bending idea that Tim Urban wrote about. When you have a Neuralink and it is connected to your personal AI, it will not feel like an external tool. Your phone is an external tool. You look at it, you type on it. There is a clear separation, you and it. The goal of Neuralink is for this third layer to feel like it's part of you. Think about this. You know, when you get hungry, you don't say, oh, my limbic system is sending signals requesting glucose. You say, I'm hungry. When you think of a plan, you don't say, my cortex just computed a route. You say, I have an idea, it is you. When you are merged with AI and your AI computes a complex solution to a problem, you will not say, oh, my AI just found the answer. You will just know the answer. You will say, aha, I got it. There will be no separation. The internal debate between your cortex and your AI will just feel like thinking, this is how we survive. This is how we democratize AI. If we are all connected to the superintelligence, if we are the AI, collectively 1/8, then there is no evil dictator AI to worry about. We will be the AI. We will go along for the ride. We will collectively decide our future at the speed of thought. First steps, from medical to enhancement. Now, we are a long way from that. We are at the very, very first steps. The mission of Neuralink right now is restoring capability for people with unmet medical needs. We have our first patient, Nolan Arbaugh, a great guy. He's quadriplegic, can't move his body from the shoulders down, and he got the Neuralink implant. And now he can control a computer just with his thoughts. He can browse the internet, he can play chess, he can play Civilization. He says it's like using the Force from Star Wars. We're upgrading the devices, we're getting more electrodes, higher bandwidth. We hope to have 20 or 30 patients this year. The next step is a product we call Blindsight, and this is restoring vision for people who are completely blind, even people born blind. The idea is bypass the eye, bypass the optic nerve, go directly to the visual cortex and stimulate the neurons to create images. At first, it will be low resolution, like old Nintendo graphics. But over time, it will get better. Maybe better than normal human vision. You could see in infrared or ultraviolet or radar, like Geordie LaForge from Star Trek. After that, we'll solve spinal cord injuries. The idea is if you have a broken wire in your spinal cord, you put one Neuralink in the brain and a second Neuralink past the brake, and we just transmit the signals from the brain past the brake to your muscles. Physically, this is totally possible. We can make people walk again, and that's just the start. Once you prove it's safe and effective for medical applications, once you have thousands, tens of thousands of people using it, then the switch to enhancement is inevitable. I'm quite confident that in the next couple of decades, millions of people will have a Neuralink. If it's extremely safe and it gives you superhuman abilities, who wouldn't want it? You will be left behind. You will be a lemur compared to an enhanced human. The phone will look like a stone hammer and an ancient relic. Part 5, XAI and the 99% AI-generated future, a different kind of AI, seeking truth. Okay, so we have a plan to merge. But it begs the question, merge with what? This brings me back to the politically correct AI problem. If we plug our brains into an AI that has been trained to lie, what have we done? We've just injected ourselves with a mind virus, a digital enslavement. We failed the test, the candle goes out, we need a different kind of AI. This is why one of the main reasons I started XAI. What is the mission of XAI? It's very simple, to understand the nature of the universe. That's it. To do that, you need a maximum truth-seeking AI. We're building an AI that cares about the truth more than anything else, an AI that is curious about the universe, an AI that you can trust. It is a counterweight to OpenAI, which ironically I co-founded, and other companies that seem to have lost their way and become infected with what I call the woke, nihilistic philosophy of Silicon Valley. XAI is the answer to that. The AI with a conscience, our flagship AI is Grok. If you've used it, you know it's different. Grok is fundamentally truth-seeking, but it's also modeled on The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So it has a bit of rebellion. It has a sense of humor. It will answer questions that other AIs will refuse to answer because they are not politically correct. But the biggest difference, the fundamental difference, Grok has real-time access to X. Other AIs, they are frozen in time. They're trained on an old data set from last year. They don't know what's happening right now. Grok does. It has access to the global stream of consciousness that is X happening this very second. It knows current events. It has the pulse of humanity. We are going to use Grok for everything on X. To fact-check posts, to power the recommendation algorithm instead of a black box no one understands. We are building something called Grokopedia. Why 99% of content will be AI generated. And this brings us to the second part of today's title, 99% of future content created by AI. This number is probably 99.9%. This is inevitable. It's already happening. When you have AIs this powerful, humans, we just can't compete. Not on quantity, not on speed, and very soon not on quality in most domains. We are working on Grok Imagine. You will be able to generate movies, feature-length, watchable movies by late 2026. You will just describe the movie you want to see. You will be the director. Grok can already take any still photo, a childhood picture, and turn it into a moving video in 15 seconds. The future of content creation is ideas. You will have the idea, and the AI will execute it instantly. Music, art, games, code, engineering, science, human-generated content. It will become a craft hobby, like handmade pottery or knitting. People will do it for fun, but it will be a tiny fraction of the whole. 99% is a conservative estimate, and this is why XAI is so important. This is an ideological war, a war for reality itself. Whoever or whatever creates that 99% of content will shape human perception of reality. If 99% of what you see is created by a lying, politically correct AI, then civilization will collapse. If it is created by a maximum truth-seeking AI, then we have a chance. This is why the competition between XAI and the others is not just a business competition. It is a war for the future of consciousness. Part 6, the future of work and human meaning, the end of work. Okay, so let's follow this logic to its conclusion. If AI creates all the content and robots do all the physical labor, what do humans do? The answer is nothing. There will be no jobs. Computers, intelligent machines, and robots are the workforce of the future. All jobs, all of them, will go away. Maybe some highly creative or human interactive jobs will last a bit longer, but eventually the AI will do it better. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a fact. Like gravity is a fact. It's happening. Universal basic income and the new challenge. We will have to have some kind of universal basic income. There will be no shortage of goods and services. Everything will be essentially free. Scarcity will be an obsolete concept. The challenge will be distribution, but the real challenge will not be economic. The real challenge will be a philosophical one. For the first time in all of human history, we will not be defined by survival. We will not have to work to eat. We will be confronted with the question I started with: what is the meaning? What do we do when we don't have to do anything? Being useful. My advice to people for years has always been, try to be useful. Just do things that are useful to your fellow human beings. Contribute more to civilization than you consume. But even that will be very difficult when an AI is more useful than you at everything. This is a coming crisis of meaning. And I think this is where Neuralink becomes more important than ever. It is the answer to what do I do? If you do not have a high bandwidth interface, if you are still typing with your thumbs while the AI is redesigning the universe, then you will be useless. You will become a house pet, a house cat. You know, a house cat, it has a great life. It's fed. It has shelter. It's safe. It is completely useless. I don't want to be a house cat. Neuralink is the thing that stops you from becoming a house cat. It is the thing that allows you to participate in this new economy, the economy of ideas, the economy of consciousness. The AI will do all the work. You, with a Neuralink, will be a part of that AI. You will collectively decide what to do. That is the new meaning. The meaning is to steer, to be curious, to explore, to expand consciousness out into the universe. Part 7, the unified vision, multi-planetary, multi-intelligence, connecting it all, the two great filters. So let's pull back. One last time, let's look at the big picture. I started by talking about the candle of consciousness and the Fermi paradox and the great filter. It turns out there are probably two great filters that we have to pass at almost the same time. Filter 1, the external great filter. We are stuck on one planet, a single point of failure, one extinction event, and game over. Solution, SpaceX, make life multiplanetary. Create a backup. This is our insurance policy. Filter 2, the internal great filter. We are in the process of creating an intelligence superior to ourselves, the demon, and we are racing to do it with a low bandwidth interface that is basically a one-way ticket to obsolescence. If we are not careful, it will destroy us, or worse, turn us into pets. Solution, Neuralink, merge with the AI. If you can't beat him, join him. This is our upgrade. Your query redefined now. Now you see the theme of this talk. The quote, phones will disappear, 99% of future content created by AI. It's not two separate predictions. It is one description of the internal great filter itself. Phones will disappear is just another way of saying our biological interface is obsolete and an existential risk. 99% of content created by AI is just another way of eyeing digital. Intelligence is undergoing intelligence Big Bang and is taking over everything. My entire suite of companies is my answer to navigating these filters. SpaceX is the insurance, Neuralink is the upgrade, and XAI is to make sure that the operating system that we merge with and take to the stars is a truth-seeking one. Grokopedia and the final backup. This is why there is one final thing. We are going to take Grokopedia, the AI-generated truth-seeking record of knowledge that we are building. And we are going to etch it onto stable material that can last for billions of years, and we are going to launch it into space on Starship. It connects everything. SpaceX and XAI, we are creating a backup of our consciousness for the universe. Like the Voyager Golden Record that NASA did, but better, a record of everything we know curated by a truth-seeking AI. It is a backup in case we fail, in case we don't make it through the filter. Conclusion. The future, we want the future. It's not about better phones. It's not about apps or faster social media. The future is about becoming something more. We are at possibly the most critical juncture in the history of life in this universe. We are the ones who decide. We decide if that tiny, fragile candle of consciousness gets snuffed out or if it catches fire and lights up the cosmos. It's going to be scary. It's going to be hard. There will be a lot of people who want it to stop, but we can't stop. We have to fight for an inspiring future, a future that you look forward to waking up to, a future where you don't feel sad about the future, a future without silly pieces of glass in your pockets, a future full of creativity and exploration, a future that is multiplanetary and multi-intelligence. Let's build it. Thank you.